All right. Hello, David. How are you? Micah, hello. Andrew, hello. Hope you guys are doing all right. Just gotta make sure everything's up and working. Brock, George. Oh, second George. We got George Jones and George Hassler. George Hassler from Prescott, Arizona. George Hassler, I hope it's cooling down there in the desert, because here in Texas, it sure has not. It sure has not cooled down. We have not had a real fall yet. It's been like almost 90 for the majority of October, which is horrendous. It's depressing, if we're being honest. Anywho, David brings up a valid point. In fact, we're going to open up. We are going to open up the camera with how bad my bracket is turning out. So I'm going to come over here and click this. Yeah, look how bad this Final Four is. No Hamlin, no Briscoe. Now, Bell's looking good, but as for Blaney, Byron, and Elliott, it's a must-win. So, the instant the checkered flag flies at Martinsville, and if Elliott does not win at Martinsville and he does not make it to the Final Four, we will come here a week from today. The first thing I will do is I will hold up this bracket and I will shred it. So, anywho, but yeah, my bracket it's toast for now. It's not doing too hot. I hope everyone else's bracket is doing much better. Hello, Tech. Good day. Andrew, Warm, and Sydney. Well, Andrew, you guys are in the southern hemisphere. It's flipped there. You guys are heading into the summer. We're supposed to be heading into the winter. It's supposed to be getting colder. It's not. We don't need to go on that rant today. But oh my God, I hate the heat. I'm tired of it. I just wanted to leave. Yeah, George, honestly, okay, so back in the spring at Talladega, we were talking about how it's gridlock, fuel saving is so annoying. There were fuel saving talks throughout the day, yes, but I felt like the race itself was much better than the spring. Like, guys could make moves, guys could maneuver around, they could go where they wanted to, and not to the extent of the old car, not to the extent of the tail end of the Gen 6 Super Speedway package, but I thought yesterday was actually a pretty good race for super speedway standards. We had that great race at Daytona a couple months ago. Obviously, the new Atlanta has been great. But honestly, like, yesterday was a pretty good race. No controversy, no format talk. It was just a good super speedway race. We didn't have to tear up 3/4 of the field like we did last year. And hey, I thought yesterday was a pretty solid race, actually. I was thoroughly surprised. I was expecting another spring where coming to the checkered flag 2x2, then everyone scatters and it's boring and, nothing happens. But hey, people were moving. The third lane was working right before that caution for Busher spinning with a lap and a half to go. I mean, as I said, pretty good race. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Daniel Barry, Sports Highlights. Hello. PNK, hello. Just listen. I haven't listened to it yet. I've not listened to. I don't think I've listened to anything so far. No, I listened to Gluck and Bianchi's thing, but I haven't listened to. I don't think I've listened to anything. Usually Denny's is the first one I go to, but I haven't even heard that yet. So I'm behind. My bad. Zero Apex. Hello. Good day. The fact that people are actually arguing that Briscoe shouldn't be in the Final Four is really dumb. Just proof people complain to complain. I haven't really seen any legitimate, like outside of internet trolls, I haven't seen people arguing that. And that's something we touched on it a bit last night, but Briscoe's had a fantastic 2025, especially the back half of 2025. But when we come over to his statistical profile, yes. So, I didn't actually want to click on this. I wanted to compare him to other people. Look at the top 5 categories, guys, for Chase Briscoe. More than Bell, more than Larson, more than Hamlin, more than Byron. Almost 3 times, or almost double, or more than double. Sorry, math is hard. More than double Logano, more than Blaney, more than Elliott, more than double of Reddick, more than double of Bubba. 5 times more than Ross. More than SVG, but he's a rookie, whatever. More than Bowman. Like, dude, Briscoe has the most top 5s in the league this year. Top 10s, he's top 3. I think he's 3rd on that list. Looks like only Bell and Larson have hit the 20 mark, and Briscoe is up next on that list. So 3rd most top 10s, most top 5s, 3rd most laps led. Stage wins, I don't know. I kind of don't care either. That sounds bad, but kind of don't. Only 3 DNFs, which I would say is on average, maybe a little bit less than average, but compared to Blaney's 8, Logano and Byron have 4, Bubba has 8. Like, when we look, Briscoe's having a pretty darn good season. Now I want to move on and get into his race by race. And we talked about it last night. I had mentioned it. I was looking over at the screen at it. Well, now we can visually show it. So, Daytona 500 scores the top 5. But then inconsistency. Not great. Meh. Bad. Not, that was a crash, but still bad. Not ideal. Good. Very good. Solid. Not good at all. Good. All right, it's Talladega. Random. Bad. He wasn't a crash there, though. Pretty good. Also, race is irrelevant. Top 5 of the Coke 600. Very good. Nashville, meh. Michigan, bad. But then this is where it starts to pick up. So, when we go here, start right here. Starting at Mexico. So, that's race 1. Oh, we could do it the other way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Race 16 is when they started to turn it on. And we get through the worst of the worst right off the bat. So they get the Mexico result. Good result, top 10. The win at Pocono. And then, of course, the Atlanta race where literally everyone wrecked, so whatever. Chicago, not great, sure. But then the hot streak kind of starts right here. Sonoma, runner-up. Dover, runner-up. Indianapolis, they won a stage, had a good points day, but finished 18th. I can't remember what happened, penalty or something maybe. Another runner-up at Iowa. Top 5 at Watkins Glen. A meh finish at Richmond, super speedway. And since then, it's been fire. Like, we said the hot streak started here with a couple of blips in the middle. Well, the hot streak starts right here and right at the playoff time, right at the end of the season when you need to get hot. Win at Darlington, runner-up at Gateway, top 10, top 5. Off race, which an off race for them in the last 10 weeks has been a 14th, top 5 win. Like, this team has been on a tear as of the last 20 races, or what will be the last 20 races. Even if they have a bad Martinsville, even if they have a bad Phoenix, like, the stretch that they have been on has not really been talked about a lot. I think it's really amped up because they're in the playoffs. We have this playoff talk, and obviously they've advanced their way through. Now they're in the Final Four, but they've made huge gains here in the second 2/3 of the season. It's been extremely impressive. A new team, a new bunch. I know the 19 team is mostly the same, but to have a new driver come in, first time in a Toyota, first time in competitive equipment, it's pretty darn impressive if you ask me. David, I don't know. Not quite. Byron has to win, so I don't know if you're feeling too good. Yeah, Clausen Z. I think I finished like 23rd or something. Let's do fantasy right now. And of course, I forgot to pull up the fantasy tab as I always do because I'm a dummy. It went to poo in stage 1. Cindric, Elliott eliminated. Well, there's the league standings. Spoiler alert. 16th. Yeah, that sucks. Aussie Matt. Hey, Aussie Matt, if you're here, congratulations. You won Talladega. Good job. This is like the earliest we've ever done fantasy in the stream. Expat _ Kiwi _ Mike _ Wallace with the runner-up. Tritech is tied for second. We have a tie for second. That's kind of exciting. Then we have Crackler, Zerkman95, a tie for fifth. Look at RT Racing and Zerkman95 tying for a top 5 spot. Dr. Zero, Connor W, Fantastic Priest, and David Jerry 24 fan is our top 10. Coming over here to the league standings, we have Dunkin' Donuts. You can clinch it this week, I think. I don't know how the points work, but we're going to assume the best for you. Chase van Gisbergen, you tried, but a podium. Not bad. That's still a really good season, let's be real. Expat _ Kiwi _ Mike _ Wallace trying to hang on for the podium, the season-long podium. Zerkman95 right on your heels. RT Racing is fifth, still in that fight. Dan the Jets fan, our defending champion. Look at that. We got a tight battle for third. It's kind of exciting. Aussie Matt, our winner. Then we got Matt Smith 53, Fantastic Priest, Tyler Hernandez 6, Micah MLB 15, me. Hell on Wheels 24, Crackler, Zero Apex, David Jerry 24 fan, Oscar Dave, Jamie, lifelong Logano fan, Dr. Zero, Sports Wagon, Knee, Tritech, Supercar Nut, Premexel, Space Wrangler Racing, Connor W, JTF 526, Rebutted, and all our people who have not submitted entries. So there's our fantasy standings. Back up here. Yeah, I picked up on that P&K. I picked up on that. The profile picture is still the same, so, and you're a common viewer and common visitor, so thank you though. No, P&K, he's got to have the best average finish in the playoffs. I mean, because Hamlin's had a couple bad races somewhere in there. Bristol and Talladega, maybe. I'm sure we could find another bad one. Bell's had some bad races somewhere in there, I'm sure. Darlington was bad. Larson had a bad Darlington. I'm sure we could find another bad one. Oh, this past weekend at Talladega. Byron, I don't think he scored a top 10 in these playoffs. They have been, once again, the curse of being a regular season champion. 2025 Byron, 2024, who's the 2024 regular season champ? Reddick did not have a great playoffs. He made the Final Four, but did not have a great playoffs. 2023 Truex, same story, did not have a great playoffs. 2022 Elliott, he made the Final Four, but he needed to use his regular season playoff points that saved him. Outside of that, bad playoffs. Larson 2021 just kind of owned everything. 2020 Harvick, we all know what happened there. I mean, the regular season curse is just, it's real. It might not exist next year, but look at this. Oh my goodness. This is the opposite of Briscoe. After Watkins Glen, it has been abysmal. 12th, 19th, 21st, 11th, 12th. Okay, third at New Hampshire. I was wrong. He has a top 5. Yeah, top 10 at Kansas. That's not bad. 11th at the Roval. 36th at Vegas. Now, that was, there were circumstances there. And 25th at Talladega. Wow. That is ugly. Ever since Michigan, we're going to pinpoint that. One race before Mexico, when Briscoe started to turn it on, is about the time where Byron started to turn it off. Running out of gas at Michigan. Crashing and qualifying at Pocono. That just disrupted their weekend. Once again, Atlanta, kind of a mulligan for everyone. Chicago, like mechanical failure on lap 1, 2, I don't know. Dover, crashed in the late race restart. Don't remember what happened there. Super Speedway. Darlington, they were bad. Gateway, they were bad. That's not horrible. They were mid. We'll call it mid. Bristol, that was a chaotic race. We we know what happened there, and we know what happened there. So, yeah. It's not been pretty for Byron as of late. Wow, Micah, you've been the Chase Briscoe of our playoffs, I guess. Is that the right way to put it? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. You did bring up the Chase Briscoe discussion earlier, so could have been you. Nee, hello. I think you just missed the fantasy standings, so you're going to have to rewind for that. Sorry. Chase Briscoe has 3 wins in a year, and Ty Gibbs has 0 in 3 years. The only counter argument would be Briscoe's had 5 years of Cup experience, I guess. This is his 5th year, so he should be kind of on his own at this point. Whereas Gibbs is only in year 3, year 2.5, 2 3/4, 2 4/5, 2 9/10 at this point. So Gibbs really needs to get that win, so he has to stop seeing stats like that, or those stats need to stop. Could you imagine if Ty Gibbs, his first career win is the Daytona 500? Saying that on October 20th of 2025, bookmark 8:19 p.m., October 20th, 2025, bookmark this minute for whatever day the Daytona 500 is next year, and we'll see if it's accurate. I'm not predicting it. I'm just saying, could you imagine? I've seen people talking a lot about Hamlin and the mechanical failures. I guess, maybe. I don't know. I don't know enough about mechanical failures and how to predict them and how to anything them. Simply put, just hope it doesn't happen at Phoenix, because if that happens at Phoenix, like let's say Denny has the best car at Phoenix, and you guys are going to kill me just for bringing it up, but you know, they have an issue there, and I think it's safe to say there's going to be a meltdown on the Denny Hamlin front. At least the internet part. I don't even know what Denny Hamlin himself would do, but God, that's a crazy thing to think about right now. So I guess we won't talk about it. Anywho. Well, yeah, Ryan Blaney is 1 DNF away from DNFing a quarter of the season, which is kind of crazy because they have been crazy good this year. 3 wins, 13 top 5, 17 top 10s, have led a lot of laps. Look at all these playoff points. But those 8 DNFs are ultimately what are going to cost them. The DNF at Las Vegas, a poor result at Talladega. I know it wasn't a DNF. I know they didn't crash, but they did not have a good result. And once again, everyone's talking about it. Martinsville, he's won the last 2 Martinsville Fall races. I don't know. I don't have a good feeling for him. Like, everyone's going to keep leaning on that crutch that Blaney's won the last 2 Martinsvilles, but I don't feel good about it. All this talk, we talked the entire year, we've talked the entire playoffs about how this schedule fits perfectly for Penske. Logano and Blaney are great at New Hampshire. They're great at Gateway, and they performed there. Blaney won at New Hampshire. Gateway, they were both top 5. I think all 3 Penske cars were top 5. No, Cindric had an off day. Anyways, that's irrelevant. Back to the original point. We talked about how the schedule fits perfectly for Penske. Looking at this round of 8, Vegas, which is a really good track for Blaney, Talladega, superspeedway, Penske's the best there, and Blaney's won the last 2 Martinsville Fall. Well, where does it put them? What does it get them? It gets them must-win scenario. Got to line that up perfectly. Must-win. Blaney's not pointing. Neither of them are. The only way that Logano can point his way in is if Larson has a mechanical failure on like lap 1 or within the first stage. Let's be realistic. And he runs top 5 the entire race. Like he scores 13 stage points and finishes top 10. that would be 43 points. That would be making up 36 or more, just to have a little bit more of a buffer. They have to win. And honestly, Logano has good numbers at Martinsville. I'll give it to him. He's led a lot of laps there. Odd number. It's an odd number to you. I just don't. Nope, not feeling it. He's not going to make the Final Four. Ultimately, I just don't see Logano winning Martinsville. Elliott was my preseason champion straight up because of this race. We'll talk about him more on Monday picks. Spoiler alert, I guess. Blaney, I think, still has a good shot. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you he doesn't have a shot. I think these two are your best bets for being the winner. Byron, someone pointed it out. Who pointed it out? Micah pointed it out. Micah said, I know Byron has 2 wins at Martinsville, but those are his only top 5s at Martinsville. I don't know which Byron will show up on Sunday. That's how I feel. I don't know what to expect from Byron. Frankly, the last couple of times they've come into this race, it has been high pressure, high stakes. They had the points advantage. They had everything to lose, and I think the pressure got to them, and they were very on edge. They had a lot of things go wrong. The race manipulation last year. This year, there's no pressure. Like, they're expected to be eliminated. It is expected for them to not win this race and to go home on Sunday evening, not fighting for a championship. Frankly, they got to go in loose. They got to go in willing to say, we're going to throw everything at it, and if we finish 31st, 7 laps down, we don't care. We were going to get eliminated anyways, and that's how everyone else is going to view it. They got to just come into this thing loose, excited, like, let's go get ourselves a win. We've done it before. Like, what do we have to lose? They literally have nothing to lose. So they need to show up with that mindset. They can't go in like they've gone in the last 2 Martinsville Fall races, which is high intensity, high pressure, on edge, and everything goes wrong. Everything crumbles, and they just barely survive. There's no barely surviving this. You win or you're out, simply put. Now, once again, if Larson or Bell has a DNF at the beginning of the race, then that's where things spice up a little bit, because at the end of the day, all 4 of these guys will be top 10. All 8 of these guys will be top 10. So it's a matter, how many points can you get in those first 2 stages if one of these have a problem. So, anywho. Yeah, Micah, as I said, it's going to be one of these 2. Even Elliott, you got to go look at Elliott's Martinsville stats. He's led like 40 plus in like 3 of the last 5 or something crazy. Almost won this race last year. He almost won in the spring. I don't know if he almost won in the spring. He almost won in the spring of 24. He ran really well in the spring this year. There, that's better phrasing. Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. Let's look at the Xfinity and Truck playoff. Let's go to Trucks first. Trucks. So Gio Ruggiero, not in the playoffs, got the win. His first career win. Round of applause for Gio. Great weekend for him. Obviously, as I said, his first win. We already knew Heim was in before this round even started, so it doesn't matter. Right now, Raj is feeling pretty decent, but it can still go very wrong very quickly. So, like, don't. He's kind of like what we just talked about with Byron. That's what Raj is in. This can be flipped in a stage. Majeski, and it doesn't help. The guys that are in the plus are kind of the underdogs because Majeski and Riggs are 2 of the best short tracks, if not the best short track drivers in the Truck Series. Majeski's won at 3 or 4. Lane Riggs has won at 3 or 4. These guys are not only going to be a threat for stage points, they are going to be a threat for the win. So, these 3 have got to be on their A game. And also, it doesn't help that Hemrick, didn't he win at Martinsville in the spring? Like, he's in a must-win. Scroll up a little bit. He's in a must-win. He has to win. If he wins, that shuffles everything up. If Grant Enfinger wins, he could win. That's very much a possibility. This truck cutoff line is nowhere close to settled. It's nowhere close to known. Like, the Cup Series bubble is pretty straightforward. If there's not a winner below the cut, the final four's set. Like, honestly, even if Larson or Bell has a mechanical failure in the first stage, I don't see it happening. It could get close, but Elliott and Blaney are the best chance to have top 5 speed all day, and those two are too far out points-wise. They're both 50 plus or 50 or more, so I don't see that happening, and Logano and Byron I don't think can. So this one is not as open and closed. It's going to be very interesting, to say the least. I think these two can get in. If one of these two wins, I don't know. But I would honestly flip Ankrum and Honeycutt for Majeski and Riggs right now, just because of how good they are at the short tracks. Let's look at Xfinity. We already have 2 spots filled out, and it's not even by wins. Zilich and Allgaier pointed their way in at Talladega, which, by the way, Austin Hill. Okay. This is so exciting, guys. Has anyone thought about this? I'm sure someone has. We're looking at the driver standings right now. Well, when we pop over here to the owner standings, and they don't have a playoff format, or they don't have a playoff bubble for the owner standings, of course, because that would be just too good to be true. Well, interesting fact about the Owners' Championship. The 21 car has a win at Talladega. The 19 car has a win at Vegas. Yes, that's where we were last week. So the Xfinity Owners' Championship has 2 spots filled. Those spots are filled by Austin Hill and presumably Eric Almirola. Eric Almirola, who got intentionally wrecked by Austin Hill back in July, are going to be fighting each other for a championship at Phoenix. I'm just saying, neither of those guys are fighting for a driver's championship. Frankly, if it comes down to the last lap for the Owners' Championship and those two are near each other, I want a split screen. I know the driver's championship is the focus, whether it's Zilich, whether it's Allgaier, whether it's Jesse Love, whether it's Brandon Jones, Sam Mayer, whoever it is. I know that's going to be at the talk of the town. But if the 19 and the 21 are near each other on the last lap and they are leading for the Owners' Championship, it will get ugly. Like, Austin Hill, we know what he's willing to do with a win, for a win. And maybe he's going to change. If he sees the 19, he might race him straight up or race him clean and try to prove, like, hey, I can beat this guy clean. But if Eric Almirola is behind him, does Eric Almirola strike back? Does Eric Almirola say, I remember what happened in July, move him for an Owners' Championship? The Xfinity title race is going to be spicy, and it's not even the Drivers' Championship that's going to be spicy. That's the best part about it. Anyways, back to the playoff bubble. Zilich and Allgaier, and we kind of already knew that was going to happen heading into this round. Jesse Love, literally just don't screw up, dude. Even if Sheldon Creed in the must-win scenario wins, just don't screw up. Just run top 15. Just survive. You're not going to get outpointed by Sammy Smith. You're not going to even get outpointed by Carson Kvapil. Or you might get outpointed, but you're not going to get outpointed to this amount unless you screw up, unless you have a mechanical failure, unless you crash. You go out and you score some stage points, game over. You're in. Cool. Great. Now, Sammy Smith's going to be a threat to win. Honestly, I'd say Carson Kvapil could be a threat to win. Brandon Jones, he's won at Martinsville before. He's should have won this race 3 years ago now when him and Ty Gibbs had their incident. Sam Mayer could win. Sheldon Creed could win. Like, any one of these 4 could win. But if you're Jesse Love, just don't screw up. So Jesse Love, I think, is in. This is where the fun things are. I think Kvapil can just simply outpoint Sammy Smith. Now, if there's a new winner, that's where it gets interesting. Hello, TP. Yeah, PNK Xfinity Owners Championship is nuts. It is insane. Austin Hill versus Eric Almirola, like, you couldn't have scripted it. any better. It's gonna get. I think now. Look, I know the Xfinity Series is usually the best series every weekend, but I am very looking forward to not this upcoming Saturday night is going to be a crapshoot. But next Saturday night, I am very excited. Very excited. TP, as long as you're here. Well, even if you weren't here, I'd still be appreciative of you. But thanks for being here. Thanks to everyone for being here. Hope you're all doing well. Yeah, PNK, that's another side of it. Austin Hill, if he wins the owner's champ. So PNK says, if Austin Hill, PNK said, I hope Austin Hill wins the owner's championship just so he can realize that without his stupidity at Indy, he would have won the championship. Yeah, I mean, this was ultimately when we saw this format come out, or not this format, this schedule come out, and we saw Talladega in the round of 8 for Xfinity, everyone was like, okay, like just go ahead and pencil in Austin Hill in that Final Four because he'll get enough playoff points in the regular season, he'll advance through that first round, then he'll go win at Talladega, he's in the Final Four, like no problem. Well, then he intentionally wrecked Eric Almirola at Indy. Then he lost all those playoff points we thought he had to rely on. Then without those playoff points, he got eliminated. So, yeah. Anywho. It'll be, if Austin Hill, if that 21 team does win the owner's championship, it'll be a bittersweet because at the end of the day, a championship's a championship. It's a big deal to win the owner's championship. It's a big deal financially for RCR. And at the end of the day, they still get a trophy. I think you get a trophy for the owner's championship. And they still get to hang a banner on their wall. So that's still a really big deal. But it's not as recognized. It's not as publicity. It's not as big as the Drivers' Championship. And when we look back at the history books, people are going to see the 21 car won the Owners' Championship. But when we look at 2025, we won't think Austin Hill, champion of the Xfinity Series. We'll probably be thinking Connor Zilisch or Justin Allgaier. If it's not one of those two, then, oh boy. Also, note, Connor Zilisch washed. Connor Zilisch is washed, guys. Look at this. This is outrageous, okay? How dare he, after 15, or wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. After 18 straight top fives, how dare he finish 23rd? What a fraud. Absolutely outrageous. He stinks. I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm kidding. But yeah, the top 5 streak ended for Connor Zilisch. 18! Not 18 straight finishes. Not 18 straight lead lap finishes. Not 18 straight top 20s. Not 18 straight top 15s. Not 18 straight top 10s. 18 straight top 5s. That's insane. Look at all these points. 53, 52, 49, 52, 59, 61, 61. Good grief. 40, 51, 43, 55, 57, 35 plus points for all of those races in a row. I've never seen anything like it. Truly. Just holy moly. Dude. That's all I gotta say. Dude. It's crazy, man. Yeah, TP, we'll get into Martinsville at the end of this thing. Should we do the SVG recap now? I got the notes. It's usually about the time we do it. It's 8:38. It's a small note sheet tonight. I only got the one page because Talladega, it's kind of hard to do like lap by lap notes at Talladega because so much is changing. But so, yeah, let's do it now. Let's do the SVG recap now. In fact, I'm going to. Tori, how many races did he almost win that something went wrong, like Mexico? Well, Mexico wasn't that his own doing. Him and Gibbs just kept on like annihilating each other. I don't know. I'm sure you could add it up. I'd have to go back through it. Micah going through 2 people with 4 wins, 2 people with 3, 6 people with 2, 8 people with 1. I'm one of the 8 with 1. Cha-ching. I have a win this year. Fox Truck Series coverage. I don't want to get into it. It's just too depressing at this point, honestly. Yeah, we'll see how Zillich does in Cup next year. Okay, SVG recap. Let me mark this minute down in my brain. 37 minutes in. We started 2 minutes late today. That's my bad. Okay, SVG recap. I have a horrendous guys, be warned. I have a horrendous intro this time. So, just, yeah. Should probably move all this for it. I can't wait to see how this goes wrong. You thought you were coming on here to talk about NASCAR, to talk about cars going in circles and some New Zealand guy driving these cars in circles? No, no, no. Good evening, kids, or I guess it's morning and afternoon in Australia and New Zealand. Today is a science lesson. Today's science lesson is, gotta make sure I don't do this over any cord. So today's science lesson is, see that? I don't know if you could see it, but water is wet. And I just dumped a bunch of water on my legs, so that was fun. Well, thankfully, it wasn't a lot. Yeah, that's the moral of the story today. Water's wet. Got water all over my leg now, so that's super fun. Anywho, yes, SVG recap, Talladega Super Speedway. We'll get into why we're talking about water being wet here in a minute. But yes, SVG, Talladega. He's raced there now 4 times in the Cup Series. Did both races last year with Colleague Racing. Those results were a 28th in the spring of 24, 15th in the fall of 2024. And I think he scored some stage points in that race as well. Finished 29th back in the spring this year with Trackhouse. Now, Talladega is chaos. It's your stereotypical NASCAR big wrecks. If you guys have been keeping up with SVG when we break down the different types of tracks, Daytona, Talladega, and Atlanta are our super speedway tracks. These super speedways that they used to be called restrictor plates. Now I think they put tapered spacer in there to kind of restrict the engines. Pack racing, where you can have 30 cars within a couple of seconds. So if one car spins out, the entire field is wiped out. You guys saw it at Atlanta back in June, July, whenever that race was. This pack racing is chaos, but at the flip side of it, for someone like Shane van Gisbergen here, who does not have a lot of oval experience, it's kind of the easiest style of racing to adapt to because anyone can run up front. Anyone can win these races. These are where we see our upset winners for the most part. So, qualifying does not matter, ultimately. Just straight up, it does not matter for the most part. Now, sometimes it does, like with pit selection, but we can see guys from the 30s win. We can see guys from the teens, from the top 5. Like, you go pick a number on the grid. Someone's probably won from there at Talladega. So, it's so insignificant I didn't even write it down. So, I'll put it somewhere on this screen so you can see where he qualified. But fuel saving is also a big deal at these super speedways. We've talked about this multiple times this year. I'm going to condense this part. But in the next-gen car, fuel saving is a big deal. Running part throttle, running in the pack at part throttle. But if you want to go now, you want to run up front, burn a little bit more fuel because you need as much fuel as you can to shorten the pit stops. When you shorten those pit stops, you can run up front at the end of the race because you're passing people on pit lane. Every 1/10 of a second matters. A 1/10 of a second can be the difference between starting that last run after green flag pit stops in 3rd or being 18th or something. Like, it's a very big deal to get as much fuel as the car as possible, as little time as possible. So it's really picking and choosing. Well, SVG chose early on in this race to be up front. Drove up, was in the top 5, top 10 for a good chunk of this race. Did not lead any laps, actually, but Talladega going lap by lap, we can't. You can make your way to the front, as I said, with ease. You can get up there. You can lead laps. But at the snap of a finger, or fingers, you can also get shuffled to the back and be running in 30th place, as I said, just like that. So, we can't really do that, but there are 2 significant moments I want to talk about for Shane van Gisbergen's day. First has to do with water. Water's wet. In Talladega, Alabama, about an hour east of Birmingham, Alabama, it rained a lot overnight and into the morning in East Central Alabama. We'll call it East Central Alabama. Well, as a result, the rain did not actually impact the race. This race started on time. The rain moved out a little bit after 10 a.m. local time. The race started about 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m. local time. They advertised it as 1 p.m. It didn't start till 1:31 p.m. So that's a separate rant. But as a result, things are still wet. While the racetrack, the racing surface may actually be dry, there are still wet patches, and they do not fully dry every single inch of the track. They fully dry every single inch of the actual racing surface. You cannot go below the double yellow line at Talladega or Daytona. So everything above, that's clear. The first groove on the apron underneath the yellow line, that was clear. That was dry. You can even see how wet it is below that on some of the camera shots on TV. You should be seeing one right now. Well, what about pit entry? Coming to pit road at Talladega is one of the toughest entries to pit road on the ovals in the NASCAR Cup Series, or really just in all of NASCAR, because you are coming in a 30-car pack with about 10 other guys. You got maybe 5 to 10 guys coming with you, and you have the rest of the field trying not to do what William Byron did to Ty Dillon last week, which is rear end. We see a lot of crashes coming onto pit road at Daytona and Talladega. We see some guys spin out, or we see some guys just completely overshoot. In fact, Shane van Gisbergen in the spring didn't do what he did in this, but he missed pit road essentially. He overdrove the pit road entry. He massively missed it. He technically made it onto pit road, but he was speeding by a lot. Ends up driving in the grass a little bit because he missed it by so much. Got a speeding penalty, ruined their day. Well, this instance is something we haven't seen, and as someone pointed out in my comments, P and K, Denny Hamlin predicted that this would happen. Denny Hamlin said that there were weepers on the entry to pit road or lower on the racetrack off of the racing surface. That would be a massive factor on pit entry or pit exit. That is what happened to SVG. At first glance, when this first happened on the broadcast, it straight up looked like SVG missed. It looked like he went to pit road, was braking, and that he just locked up and he missed and he spun out. And that's happened a lot of times at Talladega and Daytona, as I had mentioned. But when you as they say in the NFL replay booth, upon further review, that was not the case. When you look at the track where SVG presumably started hitting the brakes really hard, there was a weeper. I don't know what the terminology is in Australia, New Zealand, or other parts of the world, but a weeper is essentially a crack in the racetrack or a seam in the racetrack where the water weeps out onto the racetrack. It's held in there, but it starts to, slowly come out of there, and that creates a wet patch on the racetrack. SVG hit a weeper. SVG hits a weeper. He spins out heading into pit road. Miraculously does not wreck anyone else. I think he might have tapped William Byron, but no damage whatsoever. Like nothing. Zero Apex says it's called a weep hole in Australia. If you are messing with me, Zero Apex, I'm going to be sad. I will cry. Anywho, as previously mentioned, it rained a lot overnight. So not only does SVG hit this weeper and start spinning out, he lands in the grass. Now, if this was a normal Talladega race weekend with no rain to soak up the mud and make it all muddy and gross, it would be fine. He could probably drive out of there. He might get stuck. I don't know. But the rain did not help. He got stuck. He needed to get towed out or pushed out by a tow truck. They tried their best. They ended up going a lap down, but they were able to recover. Thankfully, this was really close to the end of stage 2. And as I said, when everyone is running in a pack at Talladega, things don't get spread out. No one gets lapped at these style of tracks unless you lose that draft. So as a result, SVG gets the lucky dog, gets back on the lead lap, and is able to have a competitive finish. So there is a little note in here. There was a caution with about 25 laps to go. And that caution, SVG came down pit road and, as I said, got some fuel. Looked like he was going to restart in a decent position, but he sped on pit road. In section 15, to be precise, he sped on pit road, and as a result, he had to start at the tail end. But at the same time, Stephen Doran called him in and said, hey, we got a speeding penalty. We're going to start at the back anyways. Let's put 4 fresh tires on this thing, and let's fill it up on fuel just in case. You never know what's going to happen. Well, good news for them is a lot happened. This race went into overtime. They had enough fuel. Kyle Larson did not have enough fuel. SVG was able to actually rally and finish 11th place. He was actually 8th entering the tri-oval, but when it comes to the tri-oval at Talladega, when you come into the tri-oval, it's every man for himself. You do what you got to do for your best possible finish, and everyone scatters. And SVG, I think if I remember the replay correctly, like they started to stack up where he was and he lost all momentum, and then everyone scattered around him. So, he ends up finishing 11th. Very decent result. His second best result on an oval now in the Cup Series. So, that's it. Water's wet. Speeding penalties. Fuel. Weepers. Mud. Very science-filled SVG recap this week. Okay, that's it. We're back to the live stream. Thanks for letting me do that. That was kind of a crazy moment because watching it live, I was like, holy crap, this is the second time he's done this. In the spring, he completely missed pit entry, got a speeding penalty. Well, this time he missed it and he wrecked or spun out, however you want to phrase it. So, that was bizarre. And there was a weeper down there. So NASCAR, next time they go to Talladega, I'm sure they are going to make sure that all the weepers are mostly dry. So, anywho. That's that. Okay. So, I think David said something about this. Was it David who said it? Yeah, okay. You guys have got to check out this chart. I know we haven't touched on F1 as much this year. I've been heavily focused on NASCAR, a lot going on in NASCAR. I've been going to a lot more races, and so as a result, I've missed a lot of F1 races this year. This is one of the most insane things I've ever seen. Max Verstappen seemed to be dead. Like, no shot, no hope. The Red Bull car was crap. The only reason they were getting podiums is because Max Verstappen is driving it. Liam Lawson didn't even get a shot in it. Yuki Tsunoda has been scoring points at best. And by scoring points, I mean like 8th to 10th place. Maybe he'll get a 6th. What Max Verstappen has done since the Dutch Grand Prix, and granted, there's a lot of racing left. It's not over yet. If he is able to complete this comeback, this is one of the greatest comebacks in sports history. He spent 2/3 of the season in an inferior car. And I think you could still argue he's in an inferior car when you look at how Yuki Tsunoda's doing. McLaren is this is disastrous. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, this is embarrassing if they lose it. The fact that it's got as close as it's gotten in the last few weeks is embarrassing. So you see this chart right here? This is the odds on the Formula One World Championship from the beginning of the season up until September 22nd, which I believe was Singapore. So McLaren headed into this year as the heavy favorite, right? I think Lando Norris was on top of the odds. Piastri was up there. Verstappen was up there. Even Leclerc was up there. Leclerc was my preseason championship pick. First time I drink the Kool-Aid for Ferrari, and it goes about as I thought it would. Okay, back to the original point. Max Verstappen was 104 points back after the Dutch Grand Prix. That's race 15 of 24. He was 104 points back. The maximum points you can score in an F1 race is 25. So he was more than 4 races back of Piastri with only 9 races to go. In the span of 4 races, Verstappen has cut it to 40 points. He has cut it to a race and a half. A race and 2/3, if we want to be exact. And I don't even know if that's exact. This is insane. This is, as I said, this is embarrassing for these two. These two had a marathon ahead of Max Verstappen, and he's now within 3 miles. And here's the thing. When Verstappen won the 2022 championship, you guys remember that? They did not have a hot start. They had the DNF at Australia. They had the win at Jeddah, but then another DNF at Bahrain, another DNF somewhere else. And Verstappen was like 45 points back after race 5 of 22. Well, that's an easy deficit to overcome when the quarter mark of the season hit. The Red Bull car was the best car by a mile. And at that point, Verstappen was able to breeze to the championship. When it happens that early in the season, it's like, okay. And once again, it wasn't even as extreme as a gap as it was. Verstappen overcomes a 45 point, 48 point, 51 point, whatever the deficit was. And this is with the bonus point for the fastest lap. Like, that was like, okay, that's impressive and all, but, you know, really early in the season, you ended up having the best car by a mile. Like, congrats on your championship, well deserved, but, like, let's not have this as some big comeback. This was after race 15 of 24. 15 of 24. And in 4 races, he has more than halved it. He has cut it to 40. Like last year, when we look at last year, the roles were reversed. Red Bull had the best car for the first half of the season. Verstappen won like 7 of the first 9 races or something crazy like that. Well, then the car falls off. They're terrible. They're running 5th to 8th. Verstappen every once in a while would will the car to a podium. And it looked like they were straight up cooked. Like, it looked like, to some people, like they were for sure cooked in the constructors, but there was actually a slim chance that Lando Norris could win the Drivers' Championship. Well, it never really felt like Lando had a shot, because the closest he got was like 50-something points, maybe 48 points. But at that point, we were at like 3 races to go, 4 races to go. Then Max Verstappen asserts his dominance, essentially, and he dominates that Brazilian Grand Prix in the rain, and that locked it up. Like, that was like, there's no chance. Like, it never fully felt like Lando Norris coming from that huge margin of points back. It never felt like, oh, he's got a shot. Like, he's going to complete this comeback. When Max Verstappen cut this to, let's go back to the schedule. When we go back to the schedule, I would say Azerbaijan. When he won Azerbaijan, that was when Piastri had the DNF. When he won the race, back-to-back race wins. When he cut it to, so this was 104. This was 97, I think. Maybe a little bit. Let's see, 25, 15, 18. So he cuts that to 94. So this was 94. 94 minus 27, 69. When he cut this thing to 69 points, it was like, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Like, is there a legit chance that Verstappen can come back? When Verstappen cut this to 69 points, I had more faith that Max Verstappen could win the world championship than last year when Lando cut it to 48 or whatever it was. Last year, it never felt like Lando had a shot because, frankly, Max Verstappen is one of the greatest drivers of all time in his prime. Lando Norris, a very good driver in the best car. It was too tall of a task. But when the roles are reversed, when it's one of the best drivers of all time against a great car and a really good driver, and I will say, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Red Bull is awful, it's terrible. Like, something started to click. They made some adjustments. They made some improvements. They had some upgrades that clearly worked. And once Italy hit, they have been rolling. Max Verstappen has been rolling. And when we look at the schedule, guys, as long as if he DNFs and Piastri and Norris do what they're supposed to do, then it's over again. Like, Verstappen's not going to win it. They're going to be favored at Mexico. I think McLaren will probably be favored at Brazil. They're going to be favored at Vegas. They'll probably be favored at Qatar, and they're going to be favored at Abu Dhabi. When we come to the odds, let's go back to this little sheet over here. Max Verstappen, after the Dutch Grand Prix, was 95-1 to win the championship. If you put $10 on Max Verstappen to win the championship on September 1st after the race concluded, you would win $950. Well, today, if you were to put those $10 on Max Verstappen, as I get a pop-up ad, I got to confirm this number. I checked it yesterday. It could have shifted. If you were to go put money on Max Verstappen to win the championship, once again, if you put $10 on him on September 1st, $10 turns into $950. If you did that today, that $10 would equal $14.50. This is crazy. Max Verstappen is now the odds-on favorite. While 40 points back, he is still a race and 2/3 behind. He is now the championship favorite according to the odds books. The sports books, the odds makers. This is legit. If he pulls this off, this is one of the greatest sporting comebacks of all time. And honestly, if he comes back and wins the championship, we might have to declare him the greatest driver of all time. Like, it might become factual. P&K says Oscar Piastri is having a 2010 Denny Hamlin show. P&K, if Piastri doesn't win this champion... Okay, look, if he loses it to Norris, they've been close all year. They're in the best car. It's still a choke. I would say that's more of a Denny Hamlin choke. But if he loses it to Verstappen, who was 104 points back with 9 races left, that is... Every Denny Hamlin choke combined that you can think of, I hate to bring up bad memories for you, every single Denny Hamlin choke combined, multiply that times 5, and that's where you're at. If Piastri loses to, like, I know a lot of Aussies were really excited about Piastri this year. It looked like this titles was his to lose. I mean, coming down here at the odds, like, he was probably minus 300 and something at some point. Minus 167, 53. Okay, well, I could have sworn he was like a heavier favorite at some point in here. Oh, here we go. Maybe it was down here. He was minus 400. It's the same date we were looking at. Minus 400. Like, the Australians were getting ready to party because I think this would be their first world champion in a long, long time. And they were getting really excited. Aussies, I know this is looking really bad for you at the moment, but I'm telling you, this is, if McLaren does not win the Drivers' Championship, I don't care if it's Lando or Oscar. If one of those two wins the Drivers' Championship, it's a success. If one of those two does not win the Drivers' Championship after clinching the Constructors' Championship with like 7 races to go, that is an embarrassment. That is a complete, utter failure. It's not even funny how bad that would be. Verstappen's there, man. He's there. If he doesn't have a DNF the rest of this season and he keeps driving like he is and that car keeps on performing as good as it is, I think he's going to do it. Now watch him get taken out turn 1 at Mexico and it all doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not even going to say it, but yeah, man, do you think Verstappen will ever give NASCAR a try? Dude, that dude loves playing the NASCAR iRace video game or whatever. Simulator, whatever it's called. I don't think he'll ever do an oval, but I could see him retiring or, he's talked about wanting to go try out other things and he's big into endurance racing. I could see him doing a one-off at like Coda or Watkins Glen, but I don't see him ever doing an oval, but I could see him doing a road course. Yeah, Max has only missed 14 points since the Dutch Grand Prix. It seemed like a joke just a few weeks ago, but now there's a legit chance. Excuse me. He now has a competitive car. He's the obvious number 1 at Red Bull, and he has the momentum. Well, he's been the obvious number 1 at Red Bull since 2019, so some would argue even before that, even when Ricciardo was there. How bad was that Red Bull move pulling the Lando pit box siding tape off the wall? I saw a lot of people making a big deal about this. I don't know how big of a deal it was. I mean, they got fined $50,000, so it was clearly somewhat of a issue, but I don't know. Verstappen needs a last 9 races 2013 Sebastian level consistency, speed, execution, and dominance, or he just needs his 2023 self. I mean, can you point to a single moment in 2023 where Max Verstappen was not the best driver? Singapore. That's literally it. Singapore was the only time he wasn't the best driver, and that's because that track sucks for him. I don't know why, but outside of that, Max Verstappen was the best driver by a mile, by a marathon, as referenced earlier. Micah says, this probably will be a hot take, but I think 2010 was the only year Hamlin choked. Honestly, I'd listen to that. Like, Hamlin himself. Let's think the other times Hamlin was in. Okay, so PNK, 2014 was crew chief having a bad call. Also, 2014, they were not at the level of Gordon, Keselowski, Harvick, Dale Jr. I know they made the Final Four over 3 of the 4 guys I mentioned, but they were 1 win. They were just happy to be in that Final Four. So ultimately, I would say that one, not really. 2019 was the big one that sticks out to me. The tape, the infamous tape, the too big of a piece of tape that got put on the grill. And that wasn't on Denny. If we're looking at the 11 team as a whole, that one sucks because they had a really good year that year and everything. But that would be the second biggest choke, and that wasn't on Denny. So in terms of your assessment of saying 2010 was the only year Hamlin choked, yes, I agree on 2010 being the worst. 2019 is the second, but it wasn't even him. It was someone else. 2020, yeah, Gibbs at the short tracks was not great. 2021, David Starr put the caution out that allowed Kyle Larson to beat him. 2021, Larson was the best driver, so I'm not even gonna argue that. Yeah, Micah, if that happens, the internet's gonna blow up. P&K, I don't want to get your hopes up, but this year just feels different. I don't know how to explain it, but this year feels different. That's all I'll say for now. Okay, so we've talked about Max Verstappen and how insane he is. Maybe the greatest Formula One driver of all time. And God, you see, I had no hope in Red Bull at this point. I had no hope. If I had known that the Red Bull car was going to wake up and that Max Verstappen was still going to be driving it, you just throw $10 at this thing and bam, you're almost a thousandaire. I know that's not a word, but I mean, throw $20 at it, you got $1,800, $1,900, dude. Throw $100 at that? Okay, I'm getting way too far ahead of myself. It's almost like you gotta like overreact and like, if you're in a state that you can take action, like just put a big number on plus. I don't. Dude, I love this chart, dude. This chart is gonna be like dude, this chart is crazy. Crazy. Let's make our Monday picks. 2015 Joey Logano. Oof. All right. We have a triple header at Martinsville. We get to punch our final fours. So let's look at the Truck Series entry list. While I am going through the Truck Series entry list, everyone make your Monday picks. Excuse me. What will the Truck Series Final Four be? Let's hear it. Truck Series Final Four. Make your predictions. Make your Monday picks. Brent Cruz is in the 1. Norm Benning, baby. He's back. Butterbean's in the 7 truck. Patrick Starpoli's in the 84 truck. Okay. All right, come on, people. I know you want to make some Monday picks. Everyone make your Monday picks. Come on. Let's hear them. I want your truck Final Four, and I want your truck Martinsville winner. Let's go. Someone out there, there's 23 people watching this. I know at least one of you wants to make a Monday pick. If not, we can not make Monday picks. I'm just kidding. Anyone? Monday picks. Trucks. Come on. Someone out there. Make a Monday pick. I believe in you. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Micah. Mike says the first 4 in both Xfinity and trucks will be the final 4 I predict. Okay, well, now I got to go to a separate tab. So Micah says that the final 4 in Xfinity is going to stay as is with Zilich, Allgaier, Love, and Quapple. Trucks is going to stay the same with Honeycutt, Anchor. Ooh, that's actually a little bit bold, Micah. I'll say that's a little bit bold. Zero Apex says Heim takes all 4 places in the finals. I know nothing about the Truck Series. David's going to go with Raja. Okay, so obviously if Raja wins, that puts Raja in the final 4. P&K says Heim, Carruth, Honeycutt, and Riggs. All right, my final 4 for trucks is going to be Heim. I'll go Raja. I'll put Raja in there. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to drop Anchorman, Honeycutt. I'm going to have to put Majeski and Riggs in. As for my Monday pick, I'm going to go with Majeski. I think Majeski gets it done. On to the Xfinity Series. Let's hear it. All right, so everyone make your Xfinity Final 4 picks. I know we've already had a couple, but I'm going to go through the entry list, look at any significant entries. Butterbean back in the 11. Eric Almirola in the 19. Patrick Staropoli in the 24. Double duty for Patrick Staropoli. Austin Green in the 32. Preston Pardis in the 50. Thomas Annunziata in the 35, or sorry, the 70. I saw the 35. Reading's hard. I at the ripe young age of 125 in the 91, and Connor Mozak in the 99 for the rest of the season. Xfinity Monday picks. I want to hear race win picks. I want to hear Xfinity Final Fours. Come on. Someone out there. Anyone? Zilich, Allgaier, Love, and Creed is what Zero Apex says. Okay. It's a solid Final Four, but that would mean Sheldon Creed winning, so I'm assuming Sheldon Creed. P&K saying the same thing. 88-7-2 and 00. Mike is saying Zilich wins. Going with the safe bet there. Connor Zilich, the 10-time winner in Xfinity this year. Sheldon Creed does have to win this week. When we come over here to the point standings. Yeah, Creed's got to win. So, thank you, Jacko. Jacko, you got any Monday picks? Xfinity? Who do you think's going to win the Xfinity race? Who do you think's going to make the Xfinity Final Four? But thanks for being here. Hope everything's well in New Zealand. It's what, like 3 p.m., 2 p.m., 1 p.m. over there? Something like that? Guesstimating. I could have looked it up, but that would require effort. I'm just kidding. I can. You're probably a better source since you're there, but it says right now it's 3:14 p.m. in Auckland, so that's neat. All right, for my Xfinity Final Four, I kind of like what Micah said. I'm actually going to keep it. These four. Let's keep it there. 88-7-2-1. I like that. Yeah. Micah, I'm going to go with you on that. Now it's time for Cup. Oh, and for the race win, I'm going to go non-playoff driver maybe. Who am I kidding? No, I'm just going to go Zilich. I'm just going to be boring and go Zilich. Zilich for the win. So Zilich and Xfinity. I'm going Majeski and Trucks. Now for Cup. NASCAR Cup Series. Let's look at the notable entries. Everyone make your Cup Series Final Four picks. So this might be the last time ever that you make a Cup Series Final Four pick. So make it a good one. Make sure you don't miss. This could be it. This could be it. God, I hope it is. Anywho, significant entries. And, of course, everyone look for your favorite driver. Everyone try to find out right here. What the sponsor is. Ooh, King's Hawaiian on the 11. That's exciting. Xfinity Mobile on the 23. Oh, God. Remember when he ran that last year? Cincinnati on the 24. Okay. Ew. Disgusting. 66 Casey Mears, fresh off of a top 20 at Talladega, is going to be in this race. Did I miss anyone else? I don't think I did. SVG in the safety culture car. So, there you go. All right. Final four for Cup. Monday picks for Cup. David says William Byron to win. Okay. Kyle Larson to get in. So, David, your final four would be Byron, Larson, Hamlin, Briscoe. All right. Fair. P&K says 11, 19, 12, 22. Blaney wins. Logano points his way in via DQ. So that means he has to run top 5 all day, P&K. And also, wouldn't he have to outpoint Bell and Larson? That's a lot of math, P&K. But you know what? It's your Monday pick. I'll let you have it. P&K says the 11, 19, 12, and 22. Blaney wins. Logano points his way in with a DQ. It's 2025. It's an odd number. Micah says Chase Elliott wins to get in the final four. Bell outpoints Larson. Jacko, NASCAR is discussing getting rid of the playoffs right now. According to the reports, it seems that NASCAR is at least going to ditch the current format in terms of the single race championship, but no one knows. It could be a 36 full season format. It could be the original 10 race chase. It could be an elimination style still, but just where we have like 4 races as a championship. We know. Or we don't know. Zero Apex is Briscoe, Hamlin, Logano, Blaney. Yeah, everyone's saying that Denny has terrible luck in the King's Hawaiian. Well, what happens if he wins in it? No, I'm not going to pick that, but it's a valid question. PNK, there's a lot of consequences. There's a lot of consequences. If you get your Monday picks wrong, I'm just going to shake my head really aggressively in shame. All right, Monday pick. See, I stay loyal to my preseason champion, and I stay loyal until I can't, except for 2023 when I ditched Reddick at the beginning of the playoffs, which technically was the right call. I still picked the champion wrong, though. When I preseason picked Chase Elliott to win this championship, it was banking on the fact that he would win at Martinsville. I knew that Vegas wasn't the prettiest track for him statistically. I know that Talladega is a crapshoot. Anything can happen. Even though he has great superspeedway numbers and he's won at Talladega a couple times, you never know what's going to happen. It was fully banking on Chase Elliott winning at Martinsville and advancing to the Final Four. Sticking with it. This is my last chance. This is Chase Elliott's last chance. Chase Elliott to win at Martinsville and advance to the Final Four. So that means I got one more spot in the Final Four. I got Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott. I think the ultimate irony is that one Hendrick car gets in, but another gets eliminated. I think Bell outpoints Larson to the Final Four. 3 Joe Gibbs cars with the 11, 19, and 20, and Chase Elliott is the 4th guy. If Bell wins, he's in. And also that means Larson is more than likely in because, John, here's the point situation. It's not close. Like, John, if none of these 4 guys win, this is your Final Four right here. Or if one of these guys has a mechanical failure in stage 1. Outside of that, as long as one of these 4 doesn't win, here's your Final Four. So, yeah. So, my Monday picks are Elliott, Majeski, Zilich. Final Fours are Elliott, Bell, Hamlin, Briscoe. Xfinity Final Four, Zilich, Allgaier, Quapple, and Love. And then Truck Series Final Four, Majeski, Riggs, Heim, and Raja. So, yeah, that was fun. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it. Really love the Monday After. It's become a fun little Monday tradition on the channel. We talked a lot tonight. We did our normal SVG recap, which I'm going to edit and upload. We talked about F1, one of the craziest charts you'll ever see. And if Max Verstappen wins it, oh my goodness. Yeah, so thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for making some Monday picks, and we'll see you later in the week. This week's schedule is exciting. We have more supercars. Yes, I plan on watching more supercars at midnight. So that'll be fun. No, for real though, it will be fun. Wednesday, there's an announcement from Spire Motorsports regarding the driver of the number 7. So Daniel Suarez is getting announced on Wednesday. Obviously, we got a triple header. We got Trucks, Xfinity Cup. We got Supercars. We got F1 in Mexico. It's a fun weekend to be a motorsports fan. All right. We'll see you later. Wednesday at the latest.